Yeah.
You can call me.
What is going on, Rush family, Rush fans, Giants fans? Welcome to another edition of New York Giants Rush. It is myself and Chris running the show here tonight. He's on a recruiting trip, so he's not able to make it back. So you got me and Chris. We got a lot to cover here tonight. We got some big news to announce as well. So without further ado, hope everybody's doing well. Let's bring in Chris.
Hey, what's up, Sean? Hey, everybody.
Chris, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. We got a big week. Camp starts very soon. Rookies report. Big week.
We are that much closer to real football being played, my man. Are you excited?
Can't wait. Like we were saying off air, man. The days seem like we're going slow, but the weeks flew after springtime. Like seems like April to now. Just the draft. It's just been flying. So good stuff.
It has, like I said to you off camera too, it's like one of those things where it's like it seems like it takes forever, but it also seems like it went by quick too. So
yeah,
I'm ready, man. I'm so ready for real football, and it just feels like, in years past, it was where we tried to almost force ourselves to be excited about the season.
Yeah.
Right. This year it feels like real excitement. Like we got real change, we got a real coach. Like it just feels like a lot to be excited about, right? Like.
Yeah, we believe it. It was optimism with Dable and the other coaches, but you got somebody that's been there, done it, successful. So it's hard not to believe that there will be big changes, coming.
It's hard. Wins. Yeah, it'll be soul crushing if we suck. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, Sean, where do we turn? If this doesn't work, where do we turn?
I don't know. I have no idea. No idea where to turn. We turn to, I don't know. Giants losing anonymous. Like,
oh my God,
we need a support group if this turns to shit.
I think so. I think you nailed it, man. A support group would be full in effect if this doesn't work in a couple years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Well, I know we got speaking of exciting things, and we'll mention this later too, but we have a new producer that's going to be coming on and starting. You want to talk about that, Chris?
Yeah. So we were lucky enough to find Gina. Gina's going to be starting with us. I would think in a few weeks, or maybe even sooner. Getting some of our clips ready, doing some stuff on the social media, and behind the scenes with bringing up the comments and producing part of the show. So Gina is very good with social media. So we got some big things planned with her. Coming down the road as we get closer to training camp and the season. So Craig will probably talk more about it, but that's kind of what we're seeing on the surface with Gina.
Absolutely,
coming on board.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting news. Gina's got her stuff together. She's got some good ideas. I'm sure she's gonna take us to where we need to be and get those things going on socials with graphics and all that. So, and the videos especially. So very excited. She got some good experience about growing some other things as well with other companies and making that. So very excited to see what she can do here for us. That's big news.
And we're going to embarrass her. We're going to, I'm sure Craig will bring her on for a couple of minutes. She'll meet everybody and talk about her background, and it'll be fun. So
yeah,
cool.
I mean, that's initiation, right? You're going to get embarrassed a little bit here. I remember when I first came on, right? Yeah, absolutely. There's an initiation.
Yeah. And we embarrass Craig every week. He gets in on a weekly basis, and it's his show. We embarrass him.
Absolutely. Well, after that exciting news, how do we follow that up, right? Well, let's talk about some things that had Giants fans really kind of nervous, right? Let's talk about Scadaboo. So, oh my goodness. So with FanFest, right? That backflip where he did not land the dismount at all. And holy cow, really kind of worried for a second. So Chris, I want to get your thoughts because I have some thoughts on what he did, how it went, and things like that. But I want to hear your thoughts because I think you have a little different perspective than I do. So what's your feeling about Scadaboo with all these backflips he's doing?
Listen, he's less than a year removed from surgery. He's ready to go for camp. We're all burned by injuries as Giant fans, watching every year guys go down. If he landed it, there wouldn't be much talk about it. It would be, oh boy, he did another flip. Be careful. The fact that he fell down just got everybody nervous. Thankfully, he's all right. But, we don't need the antics right now. As the closer we get to camp, I understand during a game he gets excited, he does a flip, but we don't need him doing flips on a stage. I mean, God forbid he broke an ankle. That would have been with neighbors out, and then you would have had a little scatterboo. We don't need to do silly things. Now he's a young guy, right? So he's going to fully learn from this, and maybe Harbaugh takes him aside and tells him just to calm down with the flips.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I think a lot of it has to do with he wants to prove that he's healthy. It's who he is and what he is at this point too. Like he's listen, he's a nut job, and I mean that in a as a term of endearment right there, right? And he even said as much. He's like, people can think I'm this or that, and he's like, I'm just gonna do me, and I get it, right? So I would like it if he would tone it down just a little bit, but at the same time, I get who he is. Now, on the positive note from that, he did not stick the landing and he didn't get injured. So to me, that shows that his ankle is really, and his leg is in a good spot of where it needs to be. So I feel better about that, right? Because that was definitely not a good landing at all. At all, and nothing happened as a result of it. So I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm gonna feel a little positive about the fact that he didn't get injured after doing a very awkward landing. Now, having said that, let's be a little smarter for the rest of the way, right? Let's not tempt fate, right?
Let's be smart. I mean, could you imagine, Sean? We are less than a week or about a week for him to report, and if he would have damaged that ankle again, it would have just been. It would have been so gut. It would have been a gut punch to everybody, to the organization, to the fan base. Here we go again with injuries. It's just, I just got to be smarter, right? Just be smarter. We're getting close. Let's not take any unnecessary risks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, do you think Harbaugh has said something to him after seeing that? Or do you think he's going to let him be who he is?
I don't know, man. Would he have actually got on a phone and told him to calm down? I think he could have easily said, hey, are you sure you're okay? Do me a favor. Can we just calm down? Because, he's so good with people, Harbaugh. He could have probably said it in a joking manner, but serious. When people are a little serious, but they joke. I could see Harbaugh doing it that way, make a joke about it, but also have a serious tone. Like, all right, that's enough. Kind of thing.
I think because he's a player's coach. There's no doubt in my mind he's a player's coach. I think I agree with you. I think he would have said it in a way that's like got his point across, but not where it felt like he was scolding him either. Right. Like, I think he's good about that. And I think Scott would understand it and go for it if Harbaugh said that way. So I'm curious to see. Well, we'll see if he does any more backflips over the next couple of weeks. Just to prove, like, hey, I'm healthy. I can do backflips. All right, we get it, man. You're healthy.
Well, the good thing is they'll be in Greenbrier. They'll be in camp. There's not going to be many events where these guys are going to be out, like at the Fanatics event or other events where they're going to be, showboating a bit. This is going to be now all football. Those events, all the extra stuff is going to be on hold now till the season starts when they do their, some of their signings and different things like that. So I think moving forward, it's all business at this point as we get close to training camp.
Oh yeah, I agree wholeheartedly there. So now, having covered that, hopefully that's over and done with him. Let's talk again when we talk about injuries, right? Let's talk about there's been some things out there now. Illuminar talked about it on Twitter. He's been saying it a lot actually since the World Cup's been going on. And then now Dart and Malik Neighbors have actually, NFLPA has put out there the push for the grass that's been out there. And both those guys kind of co-signed off on that and pushing for that as well. So kind of give me your take on, those three Giants players really kind of pushing to get grass fields here. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you what, the World Cup just ended. Every field that they played on was mandated to have their grass to pitch. So I don't think there was one ACL injury throughout all these games in the World Cup. And the fact that it's hot off the presses, right? The World Cup just ended, and it's hot now about the grass because these guys are talking about it because nobody got hurt. And it's a shame now that they have to pull that grass out of the stadium. But I think once training camp begins, it's all going to we're going to forget about it until that new turf gets put down. But I think right now it was a point of interest because it was a hot topic with all the stadiums that they played in all had grass. And for the most part, 100%, nobody had any ACL injuries. So
they did not, and it looks great, and people are commenting that. But to me, it feels different. Like it feels like there's more of a unified front from the players that are like, we want grass, we want grass. Now, whether or not something gets done, I don't know. But to me, it just feels like there's more players. I mean, Aluminar was going back and forth with people on Twitter about why, what players want. Like, and it just amazes me sometimes that people will argue with players who actually play in the surface and be like, we want grass. And they're like, oh, just stick with it. Listen to the players. It's time to listen to players. They're there. They're on it. They know what they want. Right. So I think I'm good with all three of them pushing for it. Cause you remember from 2000, 2003, there was grass in that stadium. It looked good. I know there was times where maybe it didn't look as good, but I felt like it was fine. Like,
yeah, there was a lot of talk about it because it was on pallets and they pull them out, and then they were spray painting the dirt at that point at the end of the season. But technology's changed, right, Sean? I mean, that was a number of years ago. Things have changed quite a bit. My feeling is with the grass is that don't wait till it gets all torn up. If they were to do that at some point in MetLife, change it out in October when the weather's still good, because you got August preseason games. You go to September, October, mid-October, the weather's still good. Have that turf replaced and let it set and settle. And that way you got that the rest of the season. I mean, with technology, it's there. It's just a matter of spending the money. Whether it's Woody Johnson, Mara, both of them together, they don't want to spend the money. So that's really what it comes down to, in my opinion. It's a lot of excuses. It's the money. That's what it's about.
Yeah, one. Listen, it's been out there.
The maintenance.
Yeah, and I'll say it again. It comes down to Woody Johnson. It's not the Giants side of things, because what people forget, and you had mentioned this off camera as well, is that like this is 50-50 ownership when it comes to MetLife. So the Giants just can't make a decision without Woody Johnson and the Jets co-signing off on it. So from what I've heard, and multiple people have said it, it's really coming down to Woody Johnson and the Jets is why this has happened. Mars said he would go for it. They would do it. It's just Woody doesn't want to do it. So not only do the Jets not win, but they're making life miserable for the players in this state in MetLife.
Yeah. And Sean, the other point that the narrative, they have so many events. Once the football season starts, there's not many events from 7th September to January. Yeah. So the events are all in the spring. I mean, we're in the Northeast. These events aren't taking place in the stadium in October, November. This is more spring and summer. And you know what? They can, maintain it the best way possible, whether they put something on top or they're not directly walking on it, where they have pallets on top and it's lifted, or, the floor's lifted. So, I mean, there's ways around it. But the fact that, there's so many events, I think that's a cop-out. Because the events aren't happening in the fall and the winter in the stadium.
No, and I get it's less expensive to keep turf and replace that every 4 or 5 years, or how many years it gets replaced, right? As opposed to, replacing turf every year. I understand that cost, but at the same time, listen, if players want it and they're asking for it, and we've seen injuries, because it's also a different league now too. Like, players are having more of these issues because of how big or fast or strong they are. Right. So that to me, certain turfs just don't line up with that. Now, can you get ACLs on grass? Absolutely, you can, right? But I think the percentages are definitely different. And again, just overall health of the players makes sense to play on grass. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's different to me. Like, I played on both. I played on turf. I played on grass when turf came out, turf field. I loved the turf field. I didn't feel like it did anything. But then again, I'm not running 4 340s and all this stuff either. So you don't know.
But I'll tell you what, Sean, I do the high school games, do the PA announcing, and I see kids every year. There's at least 2 to 3 within the 5 home games. I would say 2 that get ACLs, whether it's the home team or the visitor. So we see it even at the high school level with torn ACLs. And my feeling is, and just on the surface, when your foot gets stuck in grass, the turf comes apart and it lifts.
Yes.
Your foot gets stuck in turf, it's not going anywhere. Your foot's stuck. That turf is not coming up and getting broken apart. And that's the main difference.
Plus the equipment they're wearing on their feet, right? The cleats they're wearing is different that you would wear on turf. Like back when turf first came out when I was in college so many years ago, like you could get away with normal football cleats on there too as a person, so I think there's just a lot of things that have changed, and you combine the equipment they're wearing on their feet with the turf. I think that's
Yep.
leading to some things as well. So I think it's great that Dart and Neighbors and Illumina are speaking out. I don't want to see these players have to feel like they have to be, handcuffed with what they can say, what they can't say. And I want to see more players, push for it. If they feel this is truly the best for them, push
Right.
for it. Keep pushing for it. Keep putting it out there.
Think about this, Sean. They practice at the Quest facility, which is all grass outside.
Yeah.
They're there from August
Yep.
until the end of the season, and we see video in January, and they're on there every day.
Yep.
That grass looks pretty good in January, the way they maintain it. So
It
once
does.
again, I think it's just a cop out, and it comes down to money, because that grass on the training facility where they're practicing 5 days a week actually holds up pretty well come January. It doesn't
I
look
agree.
bad at all on the screen when you see practice reports.
I agree. There's ways to make it happen. There's enough technology out there with this day and age to make something happen. Whatever you got to do, you can get it done. So, Woody Johnson, if you're listening, get it done, man. Quit messing around. Quit messing with the Giants.
Yeah.
So-
Real quick on that note
Yeah,
as
go
well. So yesterday around 5:00, well, when the World Cup was over at MetLife, they already ripped up the grass. Grasses already was coming out. It's probably already gone. This week they're putting up the new field turf. It's called the Field Turf course system.
Okay.
It's an upgraded version of what they had the last generation that was in there for 3 years. There's about 8 to 10 other stadiums that have it. So anybody that's saying, "Oh, the turf," it's a whole new turf, guys. It's not going to be the same one that was in there last season. It's an upgraded version of what they had. 8 to 10, I think, stadiums already have this kind. So it's one of the ones that are already out there in the NFL. It has to be approved, and it has been approved. But yeah, we're going to see it. We'll see what happens. But that's the narrative, is at the MetLife turf. Well, there's new turf going in with a whole nother.
Yeah, I mean, we had new turf 3 years ago, so
Yeah.
that narrative died. Now you're going to even new ones here too. But again, I think what needs to be kept is it's turf versus grass, not MetLife versus grass. I think that I agree. That narrative's got to die down, because it's not the same.
That's it.
turf
Sure,
at
maybe
all.
they're better off just playing on dirt, like infield dirt. Just play on infield dirt.
Remember the stadiums when it was like Pittsburgh and Oakland,
Yeah.
where you'd have you'd be in like in middle infield going around. You had grass and an
just
infield.
make 100 yards of an infield. Use the
Yeah,
just
right.
do exactly the same
Just
thing.
play
Just
on
you
dirt.
play on dirt.
That's it. So it gets muddy. It gets there you go. It's like backyard football. I love it. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Well,
see.
now that we got all those things out of the way, let's get down to talking football here. So we got our camp countdown coming up, right? We're right on the. We're there, man. Rookies report this week, right? What day this week, Chris? Do they
They
report?
the 23rd. They which is what is that, Thursday? They report.
Thursday.
That's-
Yeah, Thursday.
Yep. So they're going to come into the Quest facility, not Greenbrier, and they'll be waiting for the veterans to report next week, the 28th, when they'll be brought into Quest, and then they head out.
Yep. So man, it's, again, we talked about at the beginning of the show. It's nice to have real football back. Rookies getting there. I think when we talk about it, I think the biggest storyline of this camp right now, Chris, is it's going to be a lot more intensive than what they're used to, right? So I think that's a big storyline there when it comes to a couple things. It's going to be more intensive, right? Which I love, which I think can be very good. And it's also going to be, they only got 3 days off. So not only are you more intense during practices and that, you're practicing more. So give me your thoughts on the fact that they're going to have only 3 days off, and they're taking advantage of the maximum amount of practices they can have there, which is something completely different from what they've done the last several years.
That's what I'm thinking. What the hell was Dable doing? I mean, it's so damning against him. And then you hear, Sean, that he was cutting and I've been to the practices. I know you're further away. And I went with Craig, and you don't realize like they're cutting it short, but it comes out that he was cutting 20, 30 minutes short on practice time. And you know what? That's not going to happen over Harbaugh. He's taken this, the NFLPA rules. He's taken it right to the limit, whether it's how many consecutive days he can practice, how many days within a couple weeks, and how long he could practice at a given practice. So you know what? If he could do 2 a days, he would do it. He's not allowed, but he is so old school, man. It is just going to be, it's going to be interesting to watch. But this is what this team needs, right? They need to be prepared week one. That's what we've seen every year, is that the lack of preparation for week one.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, and yeah, he's going to take advantage because he's a new coach. Whatever rules he can take take advantage of, he's going to do it, which is fine. Again, when you haven't won, 3 out of the last 4 years, you got to do what needs. You got to make changes, and I think that's what a lot of the Giants players said is he's changing the culture, and they seem to be buying into him changing the culture of what this is going to be. Like, the people that are here, they want this. They want this type of coaching. They thrive on it. And the people who aren't here anymore didn't want it either, right? So, or didn't want it. So that's why they're not here. So I like it. And I think the leaders of the team are good there. So I'll be curious to see, though, because they're not intense. Like, okay, are we going to have more injuries? What's that going to look like? What are we going to have to deal with, come week 1? Or are we going to have be at full strength? Being more prepared, what kind of difference is that going to make week 1? Is it going to be, it's going to be a closer game as opposed to getting blown out? Like, what does that look like now that this intense camp is happening? I'll be curious to see. I think it's needed. I think the old, the approach that we've had the last several years was, okay, we're going to treat the first 4 games as kind of an extended preseason. Like, I think Harbaugh understands that where we are now, we got to win early in the season, and we got a tough schedule. So we got to win early, and those games matter because they can help later in the season put us in a good position there too. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah. And you know what, Sean, you got to think he's a smart guy, and he's done these practices before. He's not going to go balls to the wall for 2 hours. Like, he's going to scale it back. He's going to have periods when it's intense, and I'm sure he's going to reel it in when he needs to, but I think the focus is going to be the big part of all these practices, is that these guys are going to be focused. They're not going to be, going through the motions. And I would think he's going to point out with the practice, if guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do and putting the effort in, because he wants guys, and we heard this from day one, he wants guys that love the game of football.
Yeah.
So if it shows out there that they don't love the game of football, he's going to see it. I think they're all on notice, right? So everybody's going to be, I think, knows what Harbaugh expects. So he's cracking the whip, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark B just brought up a good point. And having lived in West Virginia a couple of years, 1:30 to 3:30 in West Virginia is one of the hottest times of the day. So he's putting these guys through. He wants them well conditioned. It goes back to what Coughlin did at certain times, right? He had them out there very, very hot days. He wanted it hot. He wanted these guys conditioned and be able to deal with this stuff. So
that's right.
I like it. Like listen, mental toughness is so important in the game of football, and it comes from the coaching. So
that's right.
I like what they're doing. I like the fact that they're, again, only having 3 days off. And as you said, they're practicing 10 out of the first 11 days. Like, let's get after it. Like, let's make that change. Let's get ready. Let's have a season. Right. Let's see what this team is made of. Right. So I think that's really, really good.
And Mark, if Harbaugh could practice 9 to 12, he would, but Dable, it was 10 to 12 because they were only allowed, I think, 2 hours. That's the max. So 10 to 12 was Dable's practices in the morning, because they're on a time. They can't go over a certain amount.
Dable did not want to be on that sun with that bald head.
and don't forget, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Harbaugh is bringing them down to Miami. So what a better way to get conditioned in 100-degree heat with a joint practice with the Dolphins before they play them for the preseason game. So that's going to be interesting too.
It's almost like he knows what he's doing, right? It's almost, now we got to see the results, but it's almost like he knows what he's doing. Like he's been around the block a little bit, right?
He's been around the block, man.
Yeah. All right. So we got rookies this week, which I think is good. Like, so what are you trying to see, just to kind of backtrack there a little bit? What are you trying to see from the rookies that are going to get there early and going from camp? Like, I don't think they're actually going on the field this week. I think it's going to be a lot of classroom work. It's going to be a lot of reintroducing what they learned in rookie minicamp. So I don't believe they're actually going on the field. I could be wrong, but maybe they do. But I think it's going to be a lot of classroom before the vets get there. That's just what I'm thinking. But we'll see. We'll see if they get on the field. I'm not sure if that actually they can't, because they're doing construction. So I'm not sure if there is a field, but we'll hear from the beat writers this week. But I think it's just classroom work, because they're coming in Thursday, Friday, and then maybe they get the weekend off, and then the vets will be there early next week. Okay, so yeah, so doing that, which makes sense if they're going to be in the classroom, so that way you're not at a disadvantage when the vets come in. He
Yeah.
wants them in sync. He wants them because to me it feels like there's some rookies out there. He wants to be able to compete for starting position, so he wants to give
Right.
them the best chance. Which again, if the rookies are doing well, it pushes everybody else, so that makes
Sure.
the team better. So I
Right.
like it. I like what they're doing there. As far as like when they get to camp and everybody's there together, what's your thoughts on, and we talked about it a little bit before and on previous shows, but what's your thoughts when it comes to where they're going and where they're staying and, how that's going to impact, like, what do you think some of the focus is, going down to, is it Greenbrier, right? That's the
Greenbrier,
name of it?
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
5-star resort, beautiful hotel.
I always get that confused with Briarwood for whatever reason. I
Okay.
I want to say one or the other, but Greenbrier got it.
Yeah, I think it couldn't happen at a better situation with a new coach, right? I mean, Harbaugh comes in; these guys are going to be focused. They're going to be. It's all about football, what he wants, and no distractions, right? They're going to be locked in, team bonding. There's a turnover on the roster. So many new players, especially his guys that he brought in from the Ravens. That culture, allows them to, let these
Yeah.
blend together with some of the other with all the other players that didn't play for Harbaugh. So I think distraction wise, this is great. And
Agreed.
they'll be back up in a few weeks, but I think it's a good thing. It just that team bonding, new coach, new coaching staff, new coordinators, new players. It does remind me of the Albany, right? When they were
Yeah.
up there, and it's I don't know, something to be said about and when you played in high school too. You went away to camp for a week, and it just created that nice bonding with everyone. So I think it's going to be it's a plus.
I agree. And listen, when you're staying with somebody, you learn a lot about your teammates. So it does. There's bonding that's there, and I like it. I think that you're right. The bonding part of things is going to be huge there. I just think the biggest thing I think you said there was the distraction free. Like they're away, they're focused on football. They're going after what they need to be doing, and I think that's going to be huge for this team, especially when you have a new coach. So while it's not ideal, I think it worked out for the best. They're going to come back. They're going to have some renovations that are done, still going on. So I think there's things for them to get excited about. Like, and you want to be excited as a team, when you start the season. So I think there's things for the players to be excited about, and I like it there. I think the competition's going to be really good. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see what I do. Like I keep saying, man, I am ready for this to be happening. So it can't come soon enough. I want to hear all the reports. I want to hear everything. Like nothing is going to be too small for me. I want to know about everything that's going on there.
Mhm.
I'm gonna throw an audible here to you because we didn't really talk about this, but um, I, when you look at it, man, like to you, what do you think is like in your mind? What do you think is like the biggest camp battle at this point? Like, what do
I
you
was
think is
just
going to be
asking
the
you that
biggest camp
myself.
battle?
The biggest camp battle. Boy, there's a few of them. The biggest camp battle. I would say the cornerback position. I'm interested in that with
Yeah.
Banks and Hood and Newsome. I think that other spot could be quite a battle.
Yeah.
I mean, the receiver. I mean, receivers also. The other spot were neighbors. I mean, you got Mooney. You got we can go down the list, but
Yeah.
there's when I'm about Malachi Fields. From what you've heard, this guy could possibly take Slayton's job.
Yep.
So those would be the two right now that I'm thinking. How about you?
I would agree. So I would say more specifically, I would say cornerback 2
Mm-hmm.
would be a big battle to see who's going to take that because Debo's going to have that wrapped up. I think we're going to see a better year out of Debo now with a better coaching kind of going
Mm-hmm.
on here. I do believe that, but I think figuring out between Hood, Newsome, and Deontay Banks, I think we'll figure out who CB2 is there. I think that's going to be a big battle. And then for me, I agree with what you said about the wide receiver 2, but I think it's really everybody wide receiver 2 down. I think is going to be the biggest battle. So figuring out wide receiver 2 through 6, I think that's a huge battle going into the camp because so many people could take that position. Like there's a lot of people vying for those 6 spots. And I think that's a huge battle when it comes to that. The other one there's one other that I think will be interesting, and I think it's going to be the safety position or that nickel corner between Adarius Washington and Drew Phillips. I think that could be more of a battle than people realize, because I don't know if they're going to have Washington battle with
Holland and
Holland and Newman.
Newman?
Yeah. Like now Pinnock could battle in there at some point too. I don't know if he's at the place where he can beat somebody out, but I do think that Ardarius Washington, who was a starter in Baltimore, right, and did very well, very, very well. I think that might be a bigger battle than people realize.
But I could see Washington running with the ones, as well, and then just pulling them out and then running them at nickel. I mean, ones at safety. I'm saying, just to in case of injury or in case they need to put him in there. But I think Odell really has a shot to win a starting job with Neighbors. If Neighbors were to go on PUP, I just have the feeling that Odell is gonna shock people. I really do.
I mean, he's down weight, he's down muscle, which I think is intentional on his end, to really be able to try to stay healthy. And he's looked fast. I know we talked about it a lot on this show. I agree with you, man. I think he's going to surprise some people. If he can stay healthy, you could see him moving up the charts. I think Malachi Fields might surprise some people. That is my hot take for the offseason, is that Malachi Fields will get a lot more playing time than people realize. And I predicted a few weeks ago that he would end up being a starter at some point in the season.
Do you think, Sean, that Slayton, although a veteran and he's under contract with this ridiculous contract, do you think he is in jeopardy? And we had Carl on, and Carl's not going to throw Slayton under the bus because he's taken enough of a beating. But do you think Slayton's, in your heart of hearts, lose his job to either an Odell, to Mooney, to even I think Fields actually may start. But with Neighbors on the PUP, if that happens, do you think Slayton could lose a job to one of these other guys?
I mean, I think it is possible. I do. I think he's got his work cut out for him. I don't think it's a guaranteed that he's gonna be. I know, Mark, man, I love you, man, but man, the sleeping on Slay stuff, I can't. Listen, I say all the time, I hope he proves me wrong. I really, really do. I want him to prove me wrong, but he's got a body of work that shows that, like, I think he's a great wide receiver 4. Like I do think that, but to try to count on him as a wide receiver 2 or 3, I don't think that's where he fits. But he's where he was drafted, he has absolutely produced. And if you look back where his stats were, it's because there was really nobody else on the team. And Daniel Jones became close to him and he was feeding him the rock and doing things. But when it comes time to make a big catch, he's shown us what he can do.
You nailed it.
Like, and I don't think there's anything wrong if you're a 5th round draft pick to be a very good wide receiver 3 or 4, right? And when you look at who's there, like Darnell Mooney has done really well in this league, and he's done well with Matt Nagy as his head coach and play caller. And I don't think that's a slight. And if you lose out to OBJ or Malachi Fields, who's like tall as hell and a really great blocker, and we're going to be a run heavy team, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, Slay can lose reps as long as lose snaps as long as he produces when he gets the opportunity. We don't need him to be a 1,000-yard receiver. We don't need him to be that number 2 guy. Like, let him be that less pressure role of a 3 or 4, even a 5, where you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the way where he can perform and excel. Like, don't make him into something he's not. And I think that's what he's had to do the last couple of years. And he had an opportunity to produce last year, right? And Wan'Dale beat him out. Clearly beat him out.
You said it, Sean. He can't be the big catches. We've seen it too many times. And the argument that he was drafted where he was drafted, we've seen guys like Puka Nacua drafted later rounds, and look what happened to him. If you're an NFL receiver, and how many times have we seen him drop these big throws in these big spots? You can go back to Washington 5 years ago, wide open in the back of the end zone, drops. We've seen this countless times, and that's the problem. The catches he's supposed to make in big spots, he comes up empty. Now, he's a great guy by all accounts. He runs good routes. He can block downfield. You just don't trust him. When the ball's in the air, you're holding your breath to say, holy, you know what? I hope he holds on to this.
Right.
And he's wide open. And sometimes he does, but more times than not, in a big spot, it's dropped. We've seen it. So that's the problem with Slayton, is that you don't trust him like you want to. And
Right. I don't, and again, if he's one of the guys as opposed to one of the guys, then I think that's a better role for him, and
Right.
we should temper our expectations because we don't need him to be that guy. We really don't. We just need him to be a guy that can produce, he can catch, but we don't need him to be a large producer, in my opinion. Now, again, if he proves me wrong, I hope he does. Like it's never anything personal with that at all. It's just the body of work has shown who he is, what he can do. Maybe OBJ has a positive impact on him and he helps him with his hands and the big catches and things like that. And that would be great. Like I would love nothing more to see that. But I think people are, for whatever reason, I think people are sleeping on Darnell Mooney. And I think that's the guy that probably is going to be wide receiver 2 to start the season, or wide receiver 1. And let's not forget, as we've talked about many times on this show, is that you have Isaiah Likely, who's going to be the number 2 target to Malik Neighbors. Like you sign him for that money, you bring him in with that athleticism, he's going to be number 2. And the other thing I'll say is, like, I know people bring up about Theo and his drops. Well, the difference is Theo is just about to start year 3, right? Slayton is 7 years in the league now, whatever it is. So you're going to be more critical of somebody who's been in the league longer. Do we want to see Theo catch the ball? Absolutely. But he's second year in the league. He's a 4th round draft pick, second year in the league. You're going to give him time. Now, if in year 4 or 5, if Theo's still dropping the ball, then yeah, you bet your sweet ass I'm going to be getting on him for dropping the ball in years 4 and 5, right? Like, so I think it's a different role there. But again, I'm going to keep saying this. I don't know why people are sleeping on Darnell Mooney. I really don't. I really don't know. And Mark, you're my guy, but I don't know that they have a connection. I don't know that Slay and Dart have a connection. I think Dart with Theo has more of a connection than he does with Slay. And you're still my guy, but I'm going to disagree with you on that. I don't see that connection. I really don't. I mean, Chris, have you seen a connection? I think more with Malik and Theo, right? Than you would say with Slay.
Yeah, I think when Malik went down, you saw that grow a little bit between both of them. But then once again, you saw the real connection was him and Wandell. That was a great connection. So I think once again with Slayton, 3rd and 7. Do you want to pass throw to him in a big spot, 3rd and 7? No. If there's other options, no, I don't want to go into him.
Absolutely. And like I said, Likely's going to be the number 2 target to Malik, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, man. Do not sleep on Darnell Mooney in this offense with Matt Nagy as the play caller. Do not sleep on him at all.
And Sean, that was 3 years ago. The big the 1,000-yard season he had with Atlanta, was that 2 years ago, Mooney?
So yeah, it was 2 years ago, and then he had a 1,000-yard season with Nagy in Chicago.
Nagy with Chicago, I mean, right? And then Atlanta had.
So I think that's what it does. And he's a very good route runner, which again is an added bonus here. Now, could he prove me wrong and not do it? My gut feeling is Darnell Mooney is going to be a guy that surprises people. And who knows? Maybe Calvin Austin takes that step too, because he's got really good speed. He's a good route runner. We'll kind of see, but I'm excited, man. Like we got guys that can compete now. We got guys that aren't just guys off the street, for lack of a better word, or guys off the practice squad. We actually have NFL receivers in this wide receiver room. And again, we don't need them to be like, we don't need to have a T Higgins and a Jamar Chase together. Like if you have Malik and Isaiah Likely, that's a really good combination, in my opinion, combined with our running game.
Right. You said it, Sean. And with the identity of this team being run first, possibly, you're going to see that 12 personnel, possibly 13 personnel, pounding the ball, coming up with a 3rd and 4, 3rd and short. So you may not even see, multiple receivers out there. Like you said, you're going to have Likely out there as that big target in the slot, maybe on that 3rd and 5, where he's going to make that catch. So, I think that we're used to seeing them spread out with all these receivers, but I think it's going to be a little different now, utilizing more of the tight ends and going with that 12 personnel and 13 personnel.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree. 12, 22 personnel at 13, I think you're going to see a lot of that. Now, that's not to say we're not going to throw the ball at all, but I think we're going to take our shots when they're there. I think we're going to utilize, and out of Harbaugh's mouth, you're going to see him in the pistol. You're going to see him running the ball a lot. Like, let's look at that Ravens offense, right? If John Harbaugh comes out and says, I see a lot, we're going to utilize Jackson Dart the same way I utilize the Lamar Jackson, what does that say to you, Chris?
In terms of
how the offense is going to be run, what style offense? If they're going to use him the same way they used Lamar Jackson, what does that say to you?
They're going to run him. I mean, they're going to run him out of the pistol, right?
Yep.
You're going to see a little bit of that. You're going to see some RPOs. And you're going to have, he's going to throw downfield, but he's going to utilize the tight end, right?
Yeah. You're going to use like tight end. You're going to take your shots with the wide receiver when they're there. You're going to have the run that's going to set up the pass for sure, without a doubt. And Jackson Dart's going to be running the ball. Let's be clear. He is going to be running the ball. If there is any doubts, and again, you can mark this down right now and you can back and say that I was wrong. But if John Harbaugh is legit saying we're going to utilize Jackson Dart like Lamar Jackson, Jackson Dart's going to be running the ball, folks. He's going to be running the ball.
Obviously, yeah.
So I think it's going to be run heavy, and I think it's going to be that's what Harbaugh wants to do. Like the Harbaughs in general want to run the ball. Like they want to run the ball. They understand that that's important to do. It wears the team down, and then the receivers will get the yards, man. But it's going to be. Don't be surprised if you see Tracy and Scatterbo in the backfield at the same time, flanking Jackson Dart in the pistol.
Yeah, and don't be surprised if you see Patrick Ricard as a tight end lined up in line.
Yeah.
From what I understand, he's been in the tight end room quite a bit.
There you go. You could imagine that you have Tracy and Scat next to Dart, and then you have Patrick Ricard coming in motion as like that H-back tight end leading up the thing. Like that's a nasty offense right there. Give me all for that. So now for those coming in late, yeah, Mark, it is Chris running. Craig's not here tonight, so it is Chris running the New York Giants rush on the comment section there. Mark B, appreciate all the comments you're going. OKC Donald, love that you're how interactive we are here. Got a lot of guys coming in. Mark Thompson, nice to see you back up here again. So for guys that may have come in late, just that quick announcement again that we will within, if it's not next week, the week after, we are going to have a new producer, Gina, that's coming in, being part of the Rush teams that we're really excited about, getting out some more video clips on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram throughout the week, really putting things out there a little bit more, some new graphics out there as well.
And Sean, she'll be at the Giant games too. So she'll be doing footage from the parking lot, getting the feel from the fans. So that should be some new fun stuff, is actually have her on site for the home games, which will be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which will be very, very cool. So we got some exciting things happening on Rush here with that. So Chris, was there something else that we wanted to hit tonight? I feel like I forgot something. Did we hit all the things we wanted to hit?
I think what we discussed, we're pretty much. I think
I know
that's
I put
it.
you on the spot there. But
I'm looking at what we have posted here. We can. We'll get to the housekeeping at the end. What's coming up with the Rush preview show coming up? In September. We can leave that when we finish up. But let me ask you this, Sean, since we're talking about a few topics. The kicking game. Intriguing enough. Let me ask you something. Do you think Ben Sauls gets released during training camp, or to bring in a little heavier competition, wherever that might be, or do you feel like that he hangs around to the end of camp and battles it out with Zavada?
It's going to depend on what he does. If he kicks like he did in OTAs, I don't think so. I think Harbaugh's not going to mess around with the kicking game. Yeah. He wants a guy he can trust. But I do think they are high in Zavada. I don't know that they want to sign somebody to take over for Zavada. I think
competition-wise, I'm saying if Ben Sauls continues to falter, just competition-wise,
if he kicks like he did in OTAs, they'll get somebody else to give him competition. Yeah, if he kicked like he did in OTAs, which was not good, you can't keep him around in training camp. I think they'll let him go, or they'll bring in a third, and then whatever they need to do there. So it'll be interesting. But again, Harbaugh is going to be big on special teams. It's where one of his areas of expertise, right? His main or his big area of expertise. So I think he's not going to. Have you ever known a Harbaugh team to not have a good kicker?
No, not at all. And I think the interesting part is, I don't know with practice how often this is done, but I would venture to say that Harbaugh will put a field goal block in quite a bit with these kickers to put the pressure on, knowing that a field goal block's coming, and see how they kick when they know the pressure's coming in. So I think that'll be, there'll be a little more pressure maybe with these kickers, because obviously the pads will be on. It's not going to be like it was in mini camp. So maybe, we'll get a better idea how Zavada kicks when he actually has a rush coming at him.
Yeah. I think Zavada is going to surprise people. I think, his senior year was a little bit of fluke. There were some things kind of going on, but I do believe that he's going to be really good for us. He's got a very strong leg. And I would not be surprised if he's the kicker that Harbaugh decides to go with. Wouldn't also it wouldn't shock me though if he did bring in a veteran to kind of take the kicking job. From that standpoint, we'll kind of see. But I right now I'm leaning Zavada is going to be the kicker.
Yeah,
for the
no,
Giants.
I'm probably leaning that way too. I am thinking they got rid of Sanders, the kicker they brought in from Miami, pretty quick. He didn't last long.
No.
So I would think with Sauls, if they see something and they don't like it, I don't think Harbaugh's not going to waste time like Dable and let him hang around. I think if he sees something out there that could be better, I think he'll let Sauls go and up the camp competition.
I agree.
Just because Harbaugh's a special teams guy, I don't think he's going to let it. He's not going. It's not going to sit well if he's struggling.
Yeah, I agree.
Camp.
I absolutely agree with that, which again is a nice thing. And dude, I'll say it again. We haven't talked about it a lot this offseason. I mentioned it a couple times, but man, Jordan Stout as our punter, like that's just huge advantage to have that type of punter here. Like our special teams is going to be, head and shoulders better than what we've had here in so many years. So not having to worry about if he's going to shank a punt or what he's going to do. Like I have full faith and confidence in our punter. And when's the last time we've said that? Like how long has it been since we have not had to worry about our punter? Or
I mean, what do you have to go back? Jeff Fiegels? I mean, I don't know.
I was saying Fiegels
going back
or,
quite a bit.
Or what's his name? Weatherford.
Oh, Weatherford. Yeah, you have to go back to Weatherford.
That would
yeah,
that'd be the last one, right? Like,
yeah, for sure. And I think he led the league last year in inside the 20, being downed. And obviously his average was near 50 net. I think maybe it was like 48. So big difference from what we're used to in the hunting game.
Absolutely. That's going to change, complexions of games, man. Which is nice. Like special teams, finally.
Yeah. Flipping the field, right, Sean? That's what they talk about. Flipping the field and backing them up. Make them go the distance.
Flip the field. And, from everything that's out there, which leads into, you flip that field, that defense, man, they're excited. Like they've all talked about, a lot of players this offseason has really been about, they like what Wilson's bringing there. Now, again, we got to see the results, but it's nice to hear those things. Yeah. Right. So let's be clear on that.
That's it. I don't know if you caught Newbin's comments when he was on the huddle with Schmelk. He talked about how it's been a breath of fresh air. Almost Wilson's utilizing him like he was in college.
Yeah. And
that's what we expected from Newbin. So
absolutely. And having on the draft show a couple years ago, I covered Newbin on what he did. And I mean, he holds the record at Minnesota for interceptions, which, Antoine Winfield Jr., had that too. So if he can turn into that type of player, let's utilize him. And I think we're going to see a difference out of Newbin this year too. If he's excited, man, like that's what people forget. Like it's not just talk. Like if players are legit excited, that transfers over on the field, right? Now, whether or not it transfers into wins or losses, we don't know. But if everybody's playing better because they're excited about what's going on, then you're going to see a difference. I'd be surprised if you don't. So I'm excited about Newbin, man. I love that pick when it happened. He's got to prove me right, man. I need him to prove me right. Unlike like where I say, I'm good if Darius Slayton proves me wrong. I need Tyler Newbin to prove me right.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. The other elephant in the room, Evan Neal, buried on the depth chart right now, the unofficial depth chart. But I'm hoping once the pads go on, that anger and that disrespect he probably feels from fans and media, maybe when the pads go on, we see something, jolting him at the guard position. So I would keep an eye on that joint practice with the Dolphins to see what the report is once he's in there with ones against ones and their controlled scrimmage.
And which guard, what guards are going to play what guard spot, left or right? Like that's what I'm curious to see come camp as well. So I think a lot of exciting things to talk about, which, okay, we'll wind up here, Chris, because I know there's some things we want to talk about with, upcoming stuff with Rush that's happening here. I know you got big news to talk about, and I think that's a perfect segue. And Mark, he may not make the team, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does make the team because he's got the size that Harbaugh likes. That is the thing working in his favor.
That's true. Interesting enough, he gets cut and nobody picks him up because I don't know who would. It'd be interesting to see if he does land on the practice squad.
It would be interesting. Like I said, I'm not saying he's gonna make the team,
Right.
but it wouldn't surprise me if he did make the team,
Mm-hmm.
just based on his size alone, and again with what he has going on here. So
Yeah.
we'll
Maybe it
kinda
comes down
see.
to Zudu and Neil for that last spot on the line.
And listen, if that's the case, then I think you would probably take Neil over Azudu, and which I like Azudu a lot. Like I really do. I just think Harbaugh likes that size
Yeah.
of Neil. I think that's what's going to give him advantage. If
Mhm.
everything else is equal, the size is going to put Neil on the roster. If
Mhm.
that happens, again, I'm not saying he's going to make the roster. I want to be very clear about that. Oh yeah, the
Mhm.
Scottish Hammer is gone.
Yeah.
He got hammered
Mr.
out.
Unpredictable. You just
Yeah, he
didn't know
got
what you were
hammered
getting
out.
back there.
Yeah,
He
Mr.
was like
Inconsistent.
almost the punt version of Slayton. You weren't sure.
Right? The only consistent thing about him was that he was inconsistent. Unreal. Unreal. But yeah, all right, Chris, let's end the show. Give us that
Yeah,
good
man.
news, exciting news you got coming up. What we got going on with Rush?
Yeah, so kicking
coming up
off
here.
wrong one. So kicking off September 9th, we're gonna have the Rush preview show. So what we're gonna do is Joker's gonna come on. He's gonna give his take. Do you want to announce the name? We're gonna call your little segment.
Yeah, we're going to call it Joker's Judgment, and we're going to talk about the coaching advantage, the edge there, any kind of key takeaways from the team's key matchups is what I'm going to talk about as that segment there. So, yeah, Joker's Judgment will be part of the Rush preview show.
Rush.
Pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that'll be great. I will definitely. It's going to be great to have you on that portion of the show. And then we know the idea is we're going to have some content creators come in. We're going to have actually September 9th, John McDevitt and Eric Kennedy over from Big Blue Interactive inside BBI. They're going to be joining us for that first preview show. At least one of them will be on. And then every week, we'll have a different guest, or we'll try to, whether it's a media person or whether it's another content creator, or we're also going to, rotate Spartan Mike and the Truth, and then Sean will be joining us every week for the prediction. So you'll have the Rush NY Giants Rush on Mondays for the recap, and then Wednesday preview show. So we're going to keep you busy, and hey, we'll bring on some of you guys as well to come on the show and give us your thoughts of the upcoming game. So keep that in mind. We'll get you more interactive with the game coming up for that week.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I think you got some good stuff going. I know you share some things with me and guests and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what that preview show is going to do. It's going to be fun just having a segment, not being on the whole show. So I'll be
stay as long as you want.
Yeah. I'll come on just for that segment.
Hey, nobody else shows up, Sean. You're gonna just
I
get
know, right?
Staying, man.
I know, right? We'll see how that goes. It will be right, Chris. It's gonna be a 30-minute show, right? The preview show, is that right? Or is
Actually, we'll keep it open. We'll see how things move along. We'll say 30 to an hour, could be 45. If things are moving along, we have people in the chat, or depending on the guest, if they want to, stay on longer. So we'll play it by ear, but within an hour, we'll say that 30 minutes to an hour, in that range.
Okay, awesome. And it's just the Rush preview show, or do you got a name for it, or what do you got for it?
Right now, we're just going to call it the or Rush preview show. If you remember, we used to have Rush Hour, which we kind of did a lot of the NFL and betting. So I'll still, we'll keep it instead of Rush Hour, we'll just call it the preview, because the whole idea is obviously we're just going to preview the upcoming game. So we'll keep it the Rush preview.
Nice. I think it'll be good with the things you're talking about, things you have planned, like I said, of what's going to, the content of what's going to be talked about on the show. It'll be less cumbersome, right? Like it's going to be more on, I think it'll be good.
Even a little spin, Sean. I like to go over the practice squad, any roster changes for that day, or that, as we're, that Tuesday or Wednesday leading up to that Wednesday, which is normally the first day of the practice of the next game. And we'll go over injuries. So we'll kind of get everybody caught up. We'll dust off from the previous game and get everybody ready with practice squad, injuries, and maybe some depth chart talk on if somebody's going to be moving around and possibly starting for that next week. Somebody was disappointing, and maybe we could look to see somebody else step in if there's any problems.
Yeah, that'll be good. I think I'm excited, man. I'm excited to have it back, see what it goes here. Let's see. So Mark's talking about the line again. So Thomas, Jim S, CC, Illuminar, Bo, see Stinny, Patrick. That's 9 already who picked themselves. Room for one more. So it could come down to Neil or Azudu, or Filet. Well, I think the ballot's going to come down
is going to be on this team, I would think.
Falele, Falele, Neal, and Azudu, I think, are battling for that last spot.
Right. And with the center position, I'm just going to see right now unofficially. So right now, Lucas Patrick, who came over from Cincinnati, is your backup center. So keep that in mind too.
He's got them. Yeah, Mark.
Oh, does he have him in there? Oh, you're right. Oh,
Yeah,
good
Patrick,
job,
yeah.
Mark. I should have never doubted you. You're absolutely right.
So I think those three, that's going to be the battle for that last spot. It's going to be Falele, Neal, and Azudu are battling for that last spot. So that'll be interesting. That'll be a camp battle to watch for sure.
Fingers crossed everybody's healthy, that's the way
Right.
it goes, because things could change with any type of, I don't want to say it, but if people get banged up. So fingers crossed they get out healthy.
Yeah, they could. So it'll be exciting. Well, we got a lot of things to look forward to with the Giants. We got a lot of things to look forward to with Rush coming up.
Thanks,
again,
Mark.
back to real football. Thanks, Mark. We appreciate that.
it.
I agree. I think it's going to be great. Be a lot of fun for sure. It's good to have it back. So yes, Giants got exciting things happen. Rush got exciting things happening. So make sure you guys are tuned in. Make sure you're telling everybody about the shows. Make sure, again, as many people you can to help subscribe to the show. We appreciate it. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. It's always great having you guys here. And next week's show, we can talk a little bit about camp, which will be good. And then next thing you know, we're here.
We're off and running, man. Next week we are off and running.
We're off and running. So appreciate everybody being here. Chris, as always, man, pleasure doing the show with you.
Absolutely.
And take us out.
All right.
Give us the outro.